So if everyone's here, I'm seeing a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of familiar faces, folks that I've seen, folks that I haven't, some of the people I haven't seen in a long time. But welcome to the One Page Salon. My name is Owen Egerton. One Page Salon is it is a gathering of writers and creatives who come together, people who love books, love to write books, love to read books, love to celebrate books. And we hear one page of usually a work in progress by a slew of writers. And tonight is a very special One Page Salon because we are having on this, what is it? Is it December 3rd? I forget the date. But we are having a One Page Salon honoring the Writers League of Texas, which is turning 40 this year, which can be like a very emotional birthday for a Writers League. You know, they're wondering, you know, what's going on in their lives, but they're just reached their prime. They're kicking ass. So the Writers League of Texas is turning 40. They do so many good things for so many people out there in the world. And we're really excited to be celebrating to them. And in order to do that, all our readers tonight, all but one, all our readers tonight are the Writers League of Texas fellows, folks who have been qualified, got into this really wonderful program, and have been benefiting from all the different Writers League of Texas panels and classes and conventions and workshops all throughout this year, and now have found like their talent just pumped up like an inner tube about to go in the San Marcos River. It's like just filled with talent, and now we get to float in them down the river of literature. That's what's going to happen tonight. And to help us know more about the Writers League of Texas and tell us how we can support the group that supports us, well, let's welcome none other than Becca Oliver. Becca Oliver, ladies and gentlemen, clap in the chat room, which we called
Hello. It's me again.
You were just here.
Owen, first, I want to say a huge thank you to you because you have been such a friend to the Writers League from, for many, many years now. Obviously, you were like 20, 30 years old when we started. So you were right there at the beginning. You've been so supportive of us in so many different ways, but to give your time, and especially, we've all got a lot going on. It's the second year of a very challenging time. And I just want you to know that we appreciate you and that the fact that you say yes, I want you to say no more next year. I think you should.
Really?
I think you should. Because not to us, obviously, but to other people probably.
Oh, fair enough.
But yeah, come on. But thank you so much. Like you give and give and give, and you're such a treasure to not only the Austin writing community, but the Texas writing community, the world writing community. So thank you.
I couldn't agree more.
Right.
But Becca, I would say, in all honesty, when I was like in my early days of writing, and I was living in a van, and I remember turning in chapters for Writers League of Texas contests, like the first chapter, the first page, opening pages. And I remember doing that, participating in that type of stuff, and going to those early panels meant the world to me, because it meant I was a writer because I was participating in things of writers. It was my first community of writers. And so I'm a big fan of the Writers League of Texas, and of course you personally, Becca. So Becca, how can people are out there kind of like, oh my God, my credit card. I wish I could do something. What can they do with their credit card tonight?
So as you said, we're celebrating our 40th anniversary this year. And, 2 years ago, we started thinking about this 40th anniversary, and we envisioned having a huge party and inviting everyone we know and being in person in spaces all year round, celebrating the history of the organization. And of course, that's not what happened. But we didn't want the year to end without really recognizing this history, because we're very proud of it. So what you can do, the first thing I'll say is, it's been a challenging couple of years, and it's been challenging in many different ways. And for arts organizations, from pretty much the beginning, folks were starting to feel some pain financially, but we really are at a point now where we could use some help, where it's been a couple of years where a lot of the grant funding that we've relied on has understandably diminished because of what's been happening in the world. And we're pushing through to the end of this year, hoping to do one last fundraising push to keep us not only afloat, but really put us in a great space going into 2022, because there's so much that we want to continue to do. And there's so many ways we want to grow. This fellowship program, as an example, is something new we started in the last year. We want to give more opportunities to writers to go into spaces and focus on their craft and learn about the business of publishing without worrying about necessarily whether they can afford it and how much it's going to cost them and, what's possible. So if you're able to, but I'll say also, arts organizations have had a tough time. Just human beings have had a tough time. So please know, if you're not in a position to make a donation to the Writers League of Texas before the end of the year, we totally get it. So we want you to do whatever makes sense for you. If you're so inclined, though, we are doing a 40-day, 40 years. And honestly, our goal is to raise $40,000 fundraiser, right? And it's a lot.
40? Because we'll do that tonight.
Great. So in all seriousness, what we've been thinking is, hey, if you're not a member of the Writers League and you're a writer and you think you would benefit from what the Writers League has to offer, which we really think you would, consider joining the Writers League. If you have someone in your life who's a writer and you're thinking about gifts at the end of the year, consider gifting a membership, consider gifting a class, consider, spending the money you would spend on a gift and maybe give the gift of the Writers League of Texas to somebody.
That's a good gift.
And then finally, if you are able to, and you can make a donation as little as $10, great. We're encouraging folks to make a $40 donation in honor of our 40th anniversary. So we love what we do, and we are so proud of especially the last 2 years, but honestly, the 40 years that came before. And we want to be around for a long time. So.
That's great. So what do they do if they want to give tonight? What do they do?
So yes, so we have a website, a page on our website where you can donate. We also have a Venmo handle, which is WLT 40. We'll drop it in the chat box. It's the easiest way. If you're someone who has Venmo, you can go to your Venmo, find us on there, make a donation that way. We are also tonight, anybody who makes a donation of $40 or more tonight, we're going to give you the poster that we created for the at the start of the pandemic. So it's actually on my wall right here. I love it.
I see it. Yeah.
It's a great poster. It's about inspiring you, especially at the beginning of the pandemic when folks were feeling a lot of pressure to be writing because, we had so much free time on our hands. But there was a lot more going on that we wanted to be doing to engage in the world and to support our community. So anyone who donates $40 or more tonight will get a poster. We're happy to do that. And then we also have some giveaways for you tonight as well. So whether you donate or not, we're going to give away some amazing class packages, which I can tell folks about. I don't want to take up too much time because we want to get into the readings. But so we're going to do 3 giveaways tonight. We're going to, each of our staff, when they come up, we're going to ask a question, a trivia question about the Writers League. And whoever answers it first in the chat box, so this is something for the folks here live in the webinar, you're going to get, for the first time ever, we are actually going to sell bundles of our recorded classes. So, and we're only doing it at the end of the year, and we're only doing it for this fundraiser for now. It might be something we do it down the road, but we're going to give you the bundle of your choice. So if you win one of these 3, whatever I'm saying, trivia questions, then you're going to get a class bundle. It's going to be 3 classes. We have 4 different packages. You can pick the one you want: novel writing, memoir writing, the business of publishing, and then also wordsmith in training, I think it is. So just getting started. 4 different bundles. They're awesome. There are 3 classes each. You're going to just learn so much, and we're going to give one to you if you're the first person to answer the question.
Do you have a question right now?
I have a question. The first question is, the writer whose books include The Gap Year and Daughter of a Queen was one of the founding members of the Writers League and used to host some of the very first meetings in her backyard. Anyone?
Evan was off.
Oh, I think Susan was
Susan
first.
Susan Post.
Susan, you're here. It's so great. Susan's here. I love it. That's awesome. All right. You're right. Sarah Bird, a treasure across the world, but also someone who was there at the very earliest days of the Writers League of Texas. And we owe a lot to her. So awesome. Susan Post, you're gonna watch some classes. And that's
Excellent.
it for me.
Okay, Becca, fantastic. There'll be more giveaways. There's going to be more people that we'll get to see the faces that make the Writers League of Texas so special. And as we said earlier, we're going to get to see all the readers tonight are going to be from that inaugural class of fellows, the Writers League of Texas Fellows. And they are a fantastic group. The Writers League has been sort of bragging about them for the last year. Just like, oh my gosh, what a cool collection of creatives who have come together in this class, the way they support each other and the way they think about the world and even the questions they ask. So our first reader of tonight is Amanda Churchill, and she is the type of writer ask all kinds of big questions. One of the things I love that she mentioned in one of her bios was that she's wondering, like, where do I, in my own heritage, in my own life, where do I fit into the larger literary landscape? I just think it's such a cool thing to be asking. So please give it up for Amanda Churchill. Hi, Amanda. How are you?
Doing well. How are you tonight?
Good. You've got a really nice Zoom space there. I'm impressed.
You know, it's my little office away from the kids and the rest of the fam. So
that's where I'm at. I'm in my shed.
Nice. Yeah, you have a shed. Ooh.
Well, it's like, you know, the garage shed thing, and it's really a frightening place. There's a possum in here. I think
it's a pet.
The neighbors are in the hot tub right now. Shh. So yeah, it's an interesting space, but yeah, I'm here. But Amanda, thank you so much for reading tonight. How has been your year as a Writers League of Texas Fellow?
It has been amazing. It has probably been one of the best years of my writing life. It's been so much fun. I've taken all these classes and I've hung out with really cool people, and the other fellows have become some of my best friends, and I can't say enough about it. I hope the next class has as much fun and leaves as inspired as I have. So it's been wonderful.
Yeah. All right. So Amanda, one of the things we do at the One Page Salon is that we have every writer has to answer 3 questions. All the other writers will know what those questions are.
I know. Guinea pig.
Yes, you're the guinea pig. So thank you. I appreciate your bravery for this. Okay, so first question. Of course, it's the gift-giving season. It's the 6th night of Hanukkah. Christmas is soon going to be upon us. What is one book that you might be giving this year?
Oh gosh. I think one of my favorite books, depends on the person. One of my favorite books is from a friend, by a friend, and it's called Other People's Pets. And it's just a fun read. It's R.L. Mays's, and it's a great novel, and it's her debut novel. So I'll probably be giving that away a few places. So it's one of my favorites.
That's a great one. Okay, good. Next question. Can I come to the conclusion that maybe we don't brag enough, and so basically, as we're sort of approaching the new year, I know we always like, what's the big goal? We talk about that. So I was going to say first, what is one big brag, like something like, oh my God, by the way, this is a flex, but I'm going to say it, something from the last year that you did that you're going to brag about, and what's one big goal for 2022?
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is a big brag. I have an agent.
Hey!
I signed with an agent. On October 1st, I believe, was the official date, and it's fantastic. And I'm revising, and I guess the future brag is we're going to go out on submission, we hope, in late spring. So
boom. Okay. So the big goal is to sell the book in.
I mean, that's the ultimate big goal. I think that's, if I could do that, I'll feel like a real person, a real.
Hopefully you feel like a real person now, but
no, I'm just a puppet until then.
No, you're gonna be a real kid.
A real kid.
Last question. If this is anywhere in time, anywhere in history, is there one literary figure or literary movement that you wish you could party with?
Oh, I mean, I think everyone has like mad love for the 1920s, the Lost Generation, it seems like the place you want to be. So probably there. I mean, I'd like to, I mean, I've got the hair working already. So I just need one flapper dress and I'm golden.
Would you be like in Paris? Would you be in that scene?
Probably so. I mean, you can't say no to Paris ever, especially from a small town from Texas. Paris is always much cooler than where you are. So.
All right. Well, brilliant. I think I probably answered the same. Okay. So that's great. What are you going to be reading to us tonight?
I am reading just one page from my novel that I'm actually revising with my agent right now. And it's a page that's kind of in the novel a little bit. The novel is inspired by the life of my grandmother, who was a Japanese war bride. She came to the U.S. In the late 50s and was she was very nostalgic, and she was very homesick for her entire life for the Japan that she loved. And it was a Japan that was really no more, because after the war, it was so different. And when she would go back, she would be ultimately just a little disappointed by what she found. And so it's with that I kind of sprung into my work and started writing. So that's what I'm going to be reading about tonight.
That's wonderful. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, make a lot of noise in the chat. Just go ahead and type on your keyboard, random letters. Every letter is a different applause. Just make it happen and give it up for Amanda Churchill.
That is beautiful. I love all those letters. Thank you so much. Okay, so the novel is called The Turtle House, and I'm going to go ahead and give you the date for this one because it is in the past. It's Curtin, Texas, July 3rd, 1953. Ghost white. Not a warm white, but a whiteness where the gray weathered boards could be seen just below the surface. It was 2 hours past death, and that's what Mineko thought, staring at the ranch house for the first time. They were parked at the end of the gravel drive after driving all night. May was asleep in the middle and slumped on her lap, baby Polly asleep in her arms. She had been hot for hours, stifling in a cardigan, but since both were sleeping peacefully, she had not moved to take it off. So she sat there, James pointing out the landmarks of the ranch, sweat in her hair and between her breasts and running down to her stomach, taking in the white house and the flatness, a sickness in her throat. It wasn't that the land was ugly, she decided. It had a starkness that was interesting. The lack of elevation was jarring. She had never seen any place so level for so far a distance before. The grasses grew tall and swayed in a slight breeze. There were trees along the fence line and up around the house. Pecans, a whole grove of them, James had kept saying. And she didn't know exactly what this meant until he said it was a nut tree, and she nodded with some understanding. Now she knew what a pecan pie was. She had been wondering for quite some time, but didn't want to sound idiotic by asking. A pie made of nuts. And where the land turned greener and small bushes and trees sprung up, that was Curtin Creek. James said she could look at that later, but it had good fishing and a swimming hole. Mineko felt a wave of thankfulness wash over her. But there were snakes, water moccasins, so it was always best to bring a shotgun with you, just in case. Mineko's heart sank a little. Yet to swim, maybe killing a snake wouldn't be too awful. But the house. As they drove closer, Mineko could see that it was nothing more than a tall box of a place with two sides that jutted out. It was perfectly congruent other than that. Windows, a long rectangular porch on the front. The brackets that held up the roof of the porch were barely decorative, and, like everything else, the trim, the lattice that hid the underbelly of the home, the pillars, white. Needs repainting, James said. We'll have to do that this fall. We choose the color? I choose the color. Oh. Mineko knew then that the house would be a brighter version of the same white. They parked under the shade of one of the pecans. James opened his truck door, bounded out, and left Mineko and the children in the cab. He walked up onto the porch, pushing against the post to see if they shifted, stomped his feet to check for wood rot, looked up. What is he looking for, Mineko thought. It wasn't until later that day, when May was stung by a wasp, that she figured it out. James peeked into the windows. Mineko couldn't see his face. He didn't turn around, nor did she expect him to. She wondered if he was smiling. James's smile was more of a grimace, the look of a man whose finger had just been hit by a hammer. Maybe he was happy now, home at last. She hoped he was, but it was a thin hope, the long wisp of a broken spider's web. She buried her nose into the top of Polly's head. They all smelled of their own flavor of sweat. Hers, like heavily pickled daikon. May's was peppery, and Polly, with only milk in his belly, still a sweet sourness. They all needed a long bath and clean clothes. She desired nothing more than quiet and a moment's peace to take in her new surroundings. If she could just be still, no boat tossing her, no truck bumping her, and have some silence to think. Maybe she could figure it out. Maybe she could like this place. Maybe she could live in this White House.
That's fantastic, Amanda. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
That was really, really beautiful. Thank you so much for being here, Amanda. And for reading it. Thank you. That was great.
Thank you.
I can't wait to be reading the full book.
I can't wait for you to read it too, which means I'm done with it. So thanks, y'all.
All right, thanks, Amanda. Oh, and by the way, lucky enough, as you guys are reaching for your wallet to donate to the Writers League of Texas, well, my daughter Willow is bringing me a quarantini. Wait, it smells like the future of literature.
Well, it is made with a wild poet gin, so I mean, kind of. Poet gin.
Wild poet gin? What better way to celebrate a wild poet than to give them a membership in the Writers League of Texas?
I can think of a few better ways. You could buy their book. You could just give them cash.
No, but
You could buy
or
them chocolate. Everyone likes chocolate.
you can. Oh, okay. Thank
or
you.
you could give them a membership in the Writers League of Texas.
That's better.
Yeah,
Yes. Thank you, Willow.
Right.
Okay. So that was our first reader of
Right. Amanda did an incredible job. One of the cool things, by the way, that we do at the Writers League of Texas is that we name every One Page Salon. Every One Page Salon has its own specific name. Gosh, that gin hit me hard. So what are we going to name the December 4th, 2021 Writers League of Texas anniversary One Page Salon? Well, I am going to take a phrase from every different reader, and could be something that has to do a lot with their story, but it could be just a couple of words that I kind of randomly pull out of there because they strike me, and we will use that as a possible title. And at the end of the evening, we'll all vote and choose what we're going to be naming tonight. So the phrase that I took from Amanda, gosh, man, there's so many good moments in that, but I think this might sum up tonight, and definitely sums up what I feel is the writing community of Texas: a pie made of nuts. So a pie made of nuts is the possible title for the December 4th, 2021 One Page Salon. Okay, let's welcome our next reader. Our next reader is going to be Stephanie Rodriguez. She is a writer who does a bunch of different stuff, but she explores a lot in race and in culture and motherhood and nature overall. Really glad to have you, Stephanie Rodriguez. How are you, Stephanie?
Doing well.
Good.
Apprehensive, but we're doing it. We're getting in.
I saw that you were commenting in the chat room of like, oh no, what's my answer to that question going to be?
Yeah, I'm like, any time period I was thinking about is just like, did they have antibiotics then? I don't think so.
I know, but my thing is that we're just partying with them. So you're not like, you don't have to go live there. It's just like a weekend.
Just for
like,
a little bit.
You get to go for the weekend, and then you get to come back to modern technology and Twitter and all those things.
Okay.
So yeah, should we jump into your questions, Stephanie? What do you think?
Let's do it.
Okay, all right. By the way, did you have a good year? Was it a good experience?
It was great. I was one of the fellows, and I was just super jazzed that I was chosen, and it's just been phenomenal.
That's great. Oh, I'm so glad.
Made some great friends.
Okay, so first question: what is a book that you might be gifting this year?
A book that I might be gifting this year. I love The Carrying by Ada Limon. My sister hasn't read it yet, so I would like to hand that over to her.
Okay. You think she's watching tonight? Did we just spoil a gift?
No.
Okay.
I didn't tell any family about this.
Oh, really? 'Cause I did. I told all.
Oh, and my husband knows.
Oh, okay. Your husband's there?
He's over. Yeah, he's in the room. So he knows, but nobody else knows.
Okay. Okay, next question. What is a big brag from 2021 and a big goal for 2022?
Okay. Well, being chosen as a Writers League fellow was amazing. I also I got a story published in a Castle of Horror anthology. This is my first publication. So
That's
I could
so
also,
cool.
hey, I could also be gifting these.
I look at that beautiful. What is that? Show me that book. Castle of
Here
Horror.
we go. It's a Femme Fatales Castle of Horror edition. So,
Wow, look how thick that is. That looks amazing.
yeah, got some
Oh my
great
gosh,
stories in there.
that's cool. So do you write horror, Stephanie?
I challenged myself. I wanted to go ahead and experiment with writing short stories as an exercise for like, different genres. And
Yeah.
I just so happened to do this one, which was more of like a dark fairy tale.
Yeah.
And then PJ Hoover set out a call for subs, and I'm like, all right, well, I've got this one. Let's see how it goes. And she liked it. So
Super cool.
here we are.
Okay, so
For
that's your
next
big.
year.
Yeah.
Oh, for next year, I would hopefully like to get something else published and maybe even find an agent.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's good. All right. And last of all, this is the antibiotics, but I'm allowing you to take antibiotics with you. You've got a whole bag of
I might be able to
antibiotics.
save some people, man. But
Right.
I can't change history. I can't.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. We can't. Yeah.
A lot of loopholes there.
So many dangers to this question. I'm glad you're considering all of them. But what would be the literary group safe from all time paradoxes, but you get to party with, or individual?
The Romantics were pretty wild. Shelley and Byron. I'd love to just hang out with the Blue Stockings.
Yeah. Or maybe even that summer when Mary wrote Frankenstein.
Hell yeah. We can talk some horror.
You're like, I just published something. She'd be like, I still haven't. I'm still working on it. Be cool.
You'll get to it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's great. Okay. So what are you going to be reading to us tonight?
I am reading a short piece that I'm currently working on called Social Turkey.
Social Turkey. All right. Well, I
Social
can't
Turkey.
wait to hear it. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, everyone out there, unless you're related to Stephanie somehow and you need to stay secret in the chat room because she doesn't know that you're actually here, but everyone else, make some noise, type clickety clackety on your computer and give it up for Stephanie Rodriguez.
Thank you. All right. This is Social Turkey. You see faces you haven't seen in years, naked and maskless. You set aside the etiquette of social distancing and embrace loved ones again. Come here, we've been apart long enough. Warm bodies pressed against one another like Play-Doh. You overhear your brother-in-law celebrated the holiday the day before with his wife's family, her big family, and wish it was after. You wonder if they're taking safety precautions or insist this is all a conspiracy. No one brings up the words COVID or vaccinated. You load your plate with turkey and pasta salad, sweet potatoes and stuffing to make up for what you missed the year before. Please pass the gravy. You sit knee to knee at a crowded table, thankful for the familiar faces that have survived. You talk about the future. After a fit of laughter from your grandmother, you become hyper aware of how particles travel and how much she has to say. You want to listen, but all you can think about is the rogue aerosol speckling your new lenses. You hold your breath and close your eyes, mentally crossing yourself. You make eye contact with your telepathically linked partner and tap your frames. Nerd immunity. You smile, but still you both count coughs and take mental notes. You wonder how you could mod a face shield around your dinner plate next time. It wouldn't be rude. You would bring extra.
Oh boy, that hit close to the bone.
I felt it was timely.
Yeah. And we're going to find out the weird thing is that you wrote that in 2017. And wow. Stephanie, that was great.
Just a few weeks ago.
I'm presuming, you just wrote that in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are loving the nerd immunity. That's
Google it. It's real.
That's fantastic. Stephanie, thank you so much. And the phrase I'm going to use as a possible title for our night tonight, that I'm going to use naked and maskless. Naked and maskless.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds like a party.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are moving on to our next writer. Before we do, though, what a great opportunity now. I mean, the Writers League of Texas does so much, and they're giving away these cool different things tonight with the trivia questions, but also there's like, just by donating, you get so much. Like, not only, of course, you get discounts on the classes, and you get these cool panels that they put on and everything like that, all those cool, great things, but also you get like a discount at Book People. Every time you go in, you get a discount on your purchases, which is a huge thing right now. So go to that Venmo thing at WLT40 and just throw them a couple of change. Of course, if you can't, I understand, because, you know, writers don't have a lot of money. I mean, Stephen King does, I guess, but I don't know about the other writers. But if you can throw a couple of bucks, it will be a really good investment, because you are investing in the writers whose books you'll be reading in the future, and you're investing in the classes that you'll be taking, including your own. So do this. This is a gift to yourself. It's a gift to future books, and it's a gift to writers all over. So yeah, definitely do it. Okay. Our next reader, she happens to be, from what I understand, the youngest of all the fellows who did this original WLT Fellowship. And she just barely graduated from college, but she's already doing this. She's an incredible writer. Please give it up for Jamira Richardson.
Hello, Owen.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing okay.
Are you feeling nervous?
Of course.
Oh, no, don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. You're gonna rock. You went to St. Mary's, right? Is that right?
Yes, I did.
That's cool. And you just recently graduated like a year, 2 years ago?
I graduated in May of 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so months after that, I was selected for the fellowship.
Wow, that is really, really excellent. I'm super excited. And was it a good fellowship?
It was an amazing fellowship. It has absolutely changed my outlook on what I do and why I love what I do. So
that's fantastic. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Okay, so the 3 questions. Are you ready for your 3 questions?
Yes,
Great.
I
Now
am.
you've had some time to think about it. So what is one book that you're gifting? And you can actually, like, it's like, oh, even if you're not really gifting it, tell us the book that we should be gifting.
Okay. So I'm actually part of a book club right now with some of my old professors from St. Mary's, and we have been focusing on contemporary novels written by Black females. And so I've been reading a lot of those books, and I've actually already gifted one, but there's also another one that I've been trying to gift, but I haven't been able to gift it yet. So the one I've already gifted is Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. And the one that I've been meaning to gift is The Other Black Girl by Zakiya Dalila Harris. And both of those, I think, are very powerful in different ways. And both of them I plan to gift to my mother, because I feel like she hasn't been able to be exposed to those, just like I wasn't exposed to those. So I'm basically returning the favor that was given to me and gifting them to her. So
I love that. Okay, that was great. Next, what is a big brag from 2021 and a huge goal? I mean, big goal, crazy goal for 2022.
So anyone who's had me in their class this year, anyone who's heard me talk about the journey I've taken to get to this fellowship knows that I have spent years away from the page. I haven't really been writing. I've been dealing with a lot of insecurity and anxiety and a lot of just fear when it comes to writing and where I fit into the literary landscape. And so my biggest flex is actually a very small one in the scheme of things, but it's huge because it was such a personal shift for me. And it was returning to the page after so long. And I returned to the page during the summer writing retreat. I was taking a revision class with Churchill, and I was able to return to the page for the first time in a long time without a lot of that fear. And I was able to get some words down, not as much as I would like, but it was a huge step after so many years away from the page.
That's a
And
great
for the
one.
next year, I want to return to the piece that I was writing before years away from the page. So I was in the middle of a novel that I care very deeply about, but obviously life took over, things got in the way, the fear, the anxiety, the insecurity took over, and I have not returned to that piece in about 3 or 4 years now. And so next year, my big goal is to return to it and to really confront my fear head on and continue to do what I love to do.
Oh, I love that. Okay, that's great. And then the last question, a literary figure or movement that you would like to party with.
So I was at first blanking when you first asked this question, but then I thought about it and I thought about what I needed. And I realized that what I needed was to be surrounded by people like me, Black creatives, Black artists, because growing up, I am a military brat. I grew up around the world, but I never really grew up around other Black people. And I never really read books by Black people. And so I was a Black writer who didn't know how to approach my own culture in my writing. And so I would love to go back to the Harlem Renaissance and party with everyone and just immerse myself in that culture, because whether I was exposed to it early or not, I am, I'm connected to those artists through the fact that we are all dedicated to our craft and we are all trying to explore the world we live in through our craft.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay, what are you going to be reading to us tonight?
So I am reading the first page from a short story that I wrote back in college. It was a story that I wrote around the beginning of my block. I was still facing a lot of fear with the blank page, but this story was one of the only stories that I've ever written where the words just seem to flow out. And if anyone knows, which I know there are a lot of writers here who do, when you have those stories where the words just flow out, there's something special there. And this story is special to me because it is the first story where I wrote about Black characters. And it was the first story where I wrote about this issue that is near and dear to me. And I thought, what better way to kind of close out my fellowship than to share the story that got me this fellowship.
Yeah.
So yes, I will be reading from this story today.
Oh, that's great. Well, ladies and gentlemen, out there in your rooms, in your homes, in your offices, in your sheds, get on your keyboard and make a lot of clapping noises, all kinds of things, put every little letter in there and give it up for Jamira Richardson.
The checklist. Before I hear the siren, I see the lights, dizzying swirls of red and blue that stain my rearview mirror with memories of my twin brother. Memories of the blood blooming like rose petals beneath the thin fabric of his t-shirt as he gasped for air in the driver's seat. Memories of the crisp blue creases in the uniform of the man who snatched him away from me. As I ease the car toward the shoulder of the road, clenching my hands around the steering wheel, I sift through the jumbled mess of emotions brewing in my chest. I settle on the one flickering in the background like the embers of a dying flame. Restraint. The deep rumble of Daddy's voice echoes from somewhere buried deep in the corners of my memory, calling to me from the kitchen table where I learned what it truly means to be Black, both the beautiful and the ugly. Now you listen here, Justice. My brother's name inspired many cruel jokes among the kids in our neighborhood, but it always sounded so beautiful on the tip of Daddy's tongue. When the popo pulls you over for the first time, and it won't be the last, son, not for a Black man, I want you to put your hands up on the dashboard just like this and make sure you listen to everything they say, because I don't want you coming home in no body bag. But I also want you to sit up straight and look them in the eyes, because I'll be damned if any child of mine lets anyone take away their power. But Dad, how do I hold on to my power if I don't fight back? Justice asked. In a flash of tarnished silver, Daddy's fork clattered against his plate. Reminding him of your dignity is fighting back, he said. When our people fought for freedom, they didn't use their fists. Don't let them textbooks tell you no different, you hear? We know the truth about who and where we come from, and we fight back with something far more powerful than anger. Even if they ask you to step out that car and pat you down like an animal, as if your skin itself is a weapon, you hold on to your power by showing them you're not afraid. At the age of 13, when late night conversations should have skirted around sex, or as my classmates' parents like to call it, the birds and the bees, I learned about the threat posed by the melanin in my skin.
God, that was beautiful. That was great. Whew, thank you so much for sharing that. That is, and is that story? Where is that story now? Like, is it? Do you feel it's done now, or?
Still working on it. Still working on it. When I was in the revision class, I learned that I'm well on my way, but the ending isn't quite there yet. So I'm working on fleshing out that ending, and then I'm gonna start sending it out and see what happens. So.
That's awesome. Hey, I was going to ask you, so I was going to choose, of course, a phrase that might be the name for tonight's One Page Salon. And I kind of came up with two. One was from the story itself, which is not afraid. The other one was from your answering of your questions, which was returning to the page. So I'm going to let you choose which one do you think would be a better possible title?
I actually think they're related.
I do too. I
think they're related. I think for the sake of the One Page Salon, I'll stick with not afraid.
I love it. I completely agree. Okay.
Thank you.
Jamira. That was great. I can't wait to read that story in print. Thank you for sharing that. Jamira Richardson, everybody. Hey, and before we go on, oh my gosh, what is it? Do I hear, is it reindeer on the roof? What is it, Christmas Eve already? No, someone better than that is coming. It's Becca Oliver, our own St. Nicholas.
Oh, you. Wow. Yeah, I wanted to, Owen, thank you so much for doing this. And how about these readers? I mean, what the heck?
Jeez.
What the heck?
I'm getting slayed.
So good. I feel really, in all seriousness, I feel really honored to be here and honored to be hearing them share their words. And I just wanted to say a couple words about the fellowship program, because I didn't at the top of the show. And just mention that it's something that we started last year for the first time. And we decided we wanted a program where we could invite writers who were interested in just immersing themselves in craft and in learning about the business, and also in creating a cohort of sorts. So gathering 5 writers who would spend a year. We started in January last year, and I'm so sad to say that it's ending this month. But and said, take a chance on us. We've never done this before, but let's find 5 folks. We did an application process, 5 folks who will come together and they'll go to classes, at least 2 classes a month. They went to our conference. They did the summer writing retreat over the summer, and also just spent a lot of time connecting with each other. And then each of the staff members was, I don't want to say a mentor, because it really was a two-way street of just getting to know each other. But we wanted to have a staff member who was available to answer any questions or just talk to them through the whole process. And that's what we did. So and unfortunately, one of our fellows couldn't be here tonight. She had to work, and there was no way around it. So Amanda Wanger isn't with us, but our first 4 readers are the other 4 fellows from the program, and we're each paired with a staff member, and just it turned out greater than I think any of us had even dreamed it would. Like what a combination of just amazing women who came together and supported each other and took a chance and did everything that we had hoped they would do. and the fellowship turned out exactly what we had hoped it would be. So I'm excited to say I'm looking through applications right now for 2022. We'll be selecting our fellows in the next couple of weeks. We have many more applications, this time around because it's a growing program. So it's going to be a really hard choice. But I just wanted to tell folks a little bit more about it because it really is remarkable what they've been doing for the last year. They have committed to their writing in such a big way. And everyone on staff just feels really honored to have been a part of it. So wanted to mention that. And then I know that you're going to have Kelsey and Evan are going to come up. And I guess before they do, I just wanted to say that, we have a really amazing team here at the Writers League. We have a board of directors who oversees the entire organization. I report directly to them. They're made up of members. They're made up of just amazing folks who give their time and their energy and their money to the Writers League. So I did want to give a shout out to them. I know some of them are here tonight, and I can't say enough to just truly honor them. And our board president, who is leaving his position at the end of the year, is also here tonight, Chip Dameron. I saw him in the chat box earlier. So we have an amazing board of directors. We have a really great staff who works so hard to bring you everything that we're doing here at the Writers League. And at the heart of the organization, we're a member-based organization. At the heart of it all, we are in service to the folks who are our members. And so if you're gonna put anyone in charge of overseeing, the heart of the organization, you couldn't be luckier than to have the team that is about to come up. So I'm going to stop talking and just say welcome to our member services team at the Writers League, Kelsey Williams and Jay Evan Parks, to chat with you, Owen.
Thanks, Becca. I'm so impressed because, Evan, I wasn't gonna use your J because I always like, if he's only gonna give me a J, I'm gonna go straight to Evan. But
I mean, you do what you want to do. I treat it like H. John Benjamin's H, it's just there to look fancy.
It is fancy.
It is fancy. It works. I mean, it looks beautiful too. Yeah. Well, hi guys, how are you?
Hey, howdy ho.
We're good.
You're going to tell us a little bit more about the cool stuff that the Writers League of Texas does.
Yeah. Membership with us. I mean, it's been talked up plenty this evening, and we're not done talking it up. It's amazing. On top of some pretty great discounts on our classes, from bookstores across Texas, there is so much that we offer for writers that we're just like growing day by day.
It's true. And one of the taglines, I guess, of the Writers League of Texas is craft business community. And so our members and the kind of member services that we provide is like that community prong of that tagline. And we're very proud of it. And we're really happy. I like the way that Becca put it, to be of service to the writing community in Texas and beyond. And it's a really exciting time to become a member. We have our beautiful website. We have a lot of really great member benefits on the website itself. We have our member dashboard. We have a member directory. So now's the time to become a member or renew your membership if you haven't already. And then you get to talk with Evan and I, and we're pretty cool. So
and even just to drive this home, our last event of the year this year is a member event. Members only can attend. And it's a movie night. We're all going to enjoy my own personal copy of Die Hard. This is a collection of all the movies, but my own personal copy. We're going to all watch it together. And we're just going to have fun chatting it up in the chat box, making silly jokes about who farted in this little air vent. You're going to get another great wisecrack like that throughout the evening. Trust me, you're going to want to be there. It's going to be a great, great night. And of course, I mentioned member events. We have plenty planned for 2022 as well. I hope you are looking forward to it because it is going to be a doozy.
Let me ask you guys one of the questions that I asked all the different readers. For the Writers League of Texas, give me one huge brag from 21? Like one cool, they're like, oh, we did this and it rocked. And one, oh yeah, we're going to do this. And we're so damn excited that we hope we can pull it off.
That's an excellent question. I think for me, a brag in terms of the member services as well is we really expanded our member events, including having member meetups. And it was a way to really like connect one-on-one and in a group with our members. And we haven't really done anything like that before. And it was really huge for us. So that was a big brag, I think, for us.
Honestly, yeah, member events, it's been an amazing experiment that's only proven the success of just like how our community can come together and just, have a good night. It really is just like, it reminds me why I really love working for the Writers League.
That's beautiful. So one last thing, if someone wants to right now become a member, what do they do? Where do they go? What's the button they push?
To become a member right now, you just got to go to writersleague.org and find us in the member tab. You just pick the level you'd like to join at and fill out the form.
Evan, while you were talking and simultaneously typing, you look just like Justin Long in the third Die Hard movie. That was so cool.
And your cool glasses. We were able
my cool glasses.
Yeah.
David, yes, there will be more Zoom events for members in 2022. Look forward to them.
That's great.
The big goal for 2022 is even more.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you guys so much. Give it up for Evan and Kelsey. Thank you guys.
We actually have a trivia question.
Trivia question.
Owen, before you cut us off.
Sorry.
All right. Kelsey, would you like to read it or shall I?
I can go ahead and read it.
Please take it.
As a reminder, this is a trivia question, and the first person to answer it correctly in the chat box will be getting access to one of our special class bundles. Here we go. The WLT started hosting public programs in 1983, and one of the first speakers was this author of more than 40 books, including Tales of the South Pacific, for which he won the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in 1948.
Oh, I see. Okay. Does it have to be a full name? What?
I would say
we need a last name, complete last name.
I think I kind of want to give it to Jean, being the first one to put Michener.
She but didn't get James, but is that okay?
I think that counts. Last name takes it.
Yeah.
Better than just saying James.
Yes.
He actually wrote comma Michener. Now I don't know who comma Michener is, but if you guys are the judges, so
Comma won Pulitzer in 1948. You can't argue that. But the answer is James Michener for those who are curious. But everyone got it. But I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, let's go ahead and give it to Jean.
Thank you, Jean. You did it. All right.
All right. Now
but I think R.L. Stein was a close second. Okay, thank you.
Close.
Give it up for Evan and Kelsey. Thank you. Evan Parks and Kelsey Williams. All right. Bye, guys. Oh, excellent. So I know you guys are busy joining the Writers League of Texas or donating to the Writers League of Texas or gifting a membership to somebody else. And that's wonderful. But it's time for us to introduce our next reader of the night, our fourth reader of the night. She is also one of the fellows for the Writers League Fellowship this year. And we're so excited to have her. She just recently, finally had confessed to her mother that she is going to be writing fiction for the rest of her life, which her mother said, well, it's about goddamn time. So please give it up for Jean Synodinos.
Okay, I'm just going to go on the record and say Synodinos because it's the cross I bear, and the pleasure is mine to tell everybody. Here's how you actually say it. It's Synodinos. It's easy. It really is. Once you hear it, you know it.
Jean, I actually researched it and I got the wrong answer. So I was nervous and I got that. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Are you kidding? This is like all of us all of us fellows, we fellows all are so honored. we've been group texting about this for days and weeks and weeks and days.
Oh, but that's great. That's great. So I bet you've been thinking about maybe your answers to the 3 questions. Yes, good. Because I've changed them all. Just joking. No, I haven't. I only did that to Becca that one time. So don't worry. So my first question, of course, is gift season. What will be a book that you'll be gifting?
I've already bought them.
Oh.
I've already bought them. I am holding in my hand copies of Charlotte Gulick's new book, Syncreate, on the creative process. And for those of you who are unaware, it is a wonderful set of insights I know I certainly needed around the creative process. And Charlotte and her partner in this work are doing a writers' league, like maybe the 3rd Thursday in January. Becca, you're gonna have to sort of speak to that. But yes, so that's my gift book.
That is great. That is great. I wish I could applaud that, but also Charlotte thought that it was R.L. Stine who won the Pulitzer in the last trivia question. I just, can I support that? I guess I will. That is great. That's a wonderful book to be giving to any writer, any creative in your life. Okay, now what is a big brag, a big flex from 2021 and a big goal for 2022?
I was the first Bess Whitehead Scott and Creative Writing Fellow for the Writers League of Texas. I don't think it gets bigger than that, man. I'm sorry. That done.
Boom, boom.
Yeah. That beats publishing a few stories. That beats, although it doesn't, I'll tell you what it doesn't beat.
Yeah.
It doesn't beat finishing the first draft of my novel. There it is.
That was this last year. You did that too? That's the big one?
This year.
That's what you're going to do this year.
Yeah, that's this year's big. Whoa!
That's yeah.
But I couldn't have done it without the fellowship. There's some truth. There's some hard truth. So the big goal for 2022 is to take the momentum of 2021, propel it forward so that this novel is ready to send out into the world 1 year from now.
I like that.
I got nothing else.
That's great. That's great. Okay, that's fantastic. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm super excited. I'm now. I'm excited about your book. I don't know anything, and I'm already excited about your book. I want to buy it right now. Okay, now, who is a literary figure or a literary movement that you'd like to party with? My guess is they want to party with you. They're somewhere in heaven. Byron is like, can we get down to Jean? That's what I want to do.
I don't think I want to spend my life with these guys because they were pretty narcissistic, but I want to hang for a weekend with the Algonquin Round Table.
Oh, yeah.
New York, 1919 to 1929.
A lot of these.
A lot of these.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do. I want to listen to them talk about themselves. Yes, that's what I want.
That's great.
Yes.
And Jean, what are you going to be reading to us tonight?
I'm going to be reading the very first page of the novel that has consumed me this year. At the beginning of the year, I thought of it as speculative, and now it's just horror, climate fiction horror. So I have devolved along with it, and it brings me great joy. So I'm going to pull up the first page, and here we go.
Okay, great. And Jean, make sure that I'm getting your last name right again. Tell me one more time.
Synodinos.
Synodinos. Okay, great. All right. Synodinos. Ladies and gentlemen, make all kinds of noise. I know I said typing on your typewriter and your keyboard, but also wherever you are, just go ahead and vocalize. Vocalize in your home, vocalize in your closets, vocalize wherever you're watching. Make some noise for Jean Synodinos.
Thank you. Thanks, Owen. I'm so grateful to you. I'm so grateful to the Writers League. So grateful. Here we go. This is Rat Girl. Maisie thought herself the happiest rat farmer in New Orleans up until the day little Buster was called home to his maker. Prized and beloved breeder, raised from birth on that rooftop. Little Buster was smack dab in the middle of his shelter, paws stretched towards a glorious summer sky. And whatever had grabbed hold of him overnight hoovered the life right out of him. Skin sagged off his withered body, veined and blue beneath his belly's white fur. One swollen black eye looked like it might pop out of his skull, like a cartoon, save for that long teardrop of blood caked on the boy's fur. Maisie had seen her share of dead rats, but none like this. Weeks later, it would strike her that had she been wiser, she'd have taken the moment for what it was. The first sign of a fragile kingdom crumbling into the water, a rising tide washing her sandcastle away. Maisie screamed, and the real Buster hurled himself up to the roof, asking if she was going into an early labor or losing the baby, not for the first time. Maisie pointed to his namesake's shriveled carcass, and Buster let out a long, wounded moan. He picked the creature up and rubbed his cheek against the poor thing, so stiff it looked stuffed. Buster held that rat all day, held him in cracked, heavy hands like it was a tiny cloud that had vanished if Buster blinked. Held on until the afternoon's heat pulled a stiff cabbagey smell from its body, and that's when Buster swaddled and rested him, tucked him in his shoebox, tucked in some rocks, and wrapped the box with twine. After a silent supper, Maisie and Buster crawled out their wide kitchen window onto a narrow dock. Then they climbed into their skiff. Lake or river, Maisie asked. Pontchartrain was closer and it was past curfew in the flood zone, but in truth, she wasn't nervous about getting caught either way. She hadn't seen a drone or a boat patrolling Gentilly's waters for months. River rat, river burial. It was all Buster said. So she steered them past Bywater and towards the Mississippi on a moonless, cloudless, windless night.
Hot damn. Hot damn, Jean. Oh my gosh. This is the book that you've just finished.
This is it's first draft, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, that was fantastic. I'm so excited. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm with you, by the way, on that journey from like, oh, I write speculative to like, I'm writing a horror thing here. So that's great,
yeah.
Jean.
Yeah.
And I think the phrase that I'm going to choose from all the different wonderful phrases that you had in there, fragile kingdom. Fragile Kingdom. It might have been Share of Dead Rats, but that doesn't sound like the name from a one-page salon. That sounds like the name of a GOP conference. So we're gonna go with Fragile Kingdom.
Okay.
Thank you, Jean. I look forward to reading your book. Thank you so much, and keep it up. Okay.
Thank you, Owen. Thanks a lot.
Well, we are moving in to our final reader of the night, but wait a second, we also have a final representative of the Writers League of Texas who's going to be telling us about some of the very cool things that the Writers League is doing in the program department. She is an awesome human being. She is an incredible published writer, and she is also one of the people who make the Writers League of Texas the very special organization it is. Please give it up for Sam Babiak. Hi, Sam. How are you?
Hi, Owen. Thanks so much for that. I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. It's really good to see your face.
You too.
So, Sam, before we jump into your questions and everything, are you going to tell us a little bit about some of the stuff the Writers League of Texas is doing in the program department? Yeah?
I am, yeah. So let's talk about programming, because honestly, there is so much that we do. But as a member of the Writers League, and even if you're not a member of the Writers League, year round, we offer classes on the craft and business of writing. These are 3-hour classes, sometimes full day classes with really incredible instructors on all kinds of topics. We offer free events year round as well, sometimes several times a month, like our Third Thursday panels, our WLT on the Writing Live presentations. We have WLT off the beaten craft. We have WLT on the craft of writing. Just so many great things that we do year round. But besides that, when you are a member of the Writers League, when you donate to the Writers League, you're also supporting our other programming, like Texas Writes, where we send authors to rural libraries around Texas, completely free to the libraries. Like our Project Wise program, where we send authors to public schools around Austin, and hopefully maybe farther away soon enough. But yeah, and so there's so much programming to take advantage of, to support. So yes, I'm very proud of that. And we are so lucky to have the supporters of the members that we do.
So when people basically, when they give a donation, when they go to Venmo and go to @WLT40, then they are supporting not only the cool things that are being done just for writers in Texas overall, but also younger folks in schools, and also just going out to rural places where maybe the big, book tours don't go through.
Yes, 100%. You're fostering the next generation of writers. You're helping libraries who usually don't get access to authors and literary events get access to those events. So yes, it's so much more than just classes or free events that we do.
So basically, you're saying people who don't give hate books and hate literature.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Okay. Good. That's not true, by the way. And oh, that's right. And hate young people. Thank you, Charlotte, for adding that. Okay, so Sam, so appreciate everything that you do for the Writers League, and also that you're doing double duty tonight and also reading. Really appreciate that. I'm very excited. Are you ready for your 3 questions?
Before we do my 3 questions, maybe we could do the trivia question.
Trivia. Yes, let's do that.
Yeah. So to win a class bundle, the first person to answer this right in the chat box wins. So a scholarship in this pioneering journalist's name was created by the WLT in honor of her 100th birthday. Now, one writer annually is named a WLT Fellow in honor of her. Who is it?
Okay, Jean was not allowed to answer.
Okay, well, I think we have a winner. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Bess Whitehead Scott is the answer, and the first person who put it in the chat box was Jamira Richardson.
Well, there we go. I'm surprised no one guessed R.L. Stein. I'm really actually thought that was going to be an ongoing thing. Okay, so that congratulations, Jamira, on the bundle there. And are you ready for your 3 questions, Sam?
I am.
Okay. What is a book that you'll be gifting this year? Yes.
So I like to gift books to everyone every year, but the one book that I'm gifting to multiple people this year is Know My Name by Chanel Miller. She was known as Emily Doe during the Stanford sexual assault case. And this is her telling of her story. And I think it's just so important because it really dives into the justice system and how it really doesn't work for survivors. And I think it's essential reading for everyone. So yes.
Oh gosh, it's a powerful book to be giving. Oh, that's great. Okay, next, what is a big brag, a big flex for 2021 and a big goal for 2022?
Yes. Okay, so much like Jamira, I started writing again this year. I hadn't written in 2 years, basically since I graduated from my undergrad program in 2019. So yeah, this year I returned to the page, which was a huge deal for me. And I guess for 2022, I definitely want to keep writing, but I'm excited to really start the projects and telling the stories that just won't leave me alone. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing.
That's pretty great. That's pretty great. It's an interesting thing of I have so many friends who either from graduate school when I got an MFA or from college or whatever, who had a period in their life where they felt they could write because it was sort of supported by a kind of community. But then that changes, graduation or moving or something like that. And it throws them. I mean, there's plenty in the last couple of years that have thrown us into flux. And it's just, I love that we keep going back to this theme of returning to the page, of the power to do that. And I love that the Writers League of Texas is such a good community to encourage that. So that's great, Sam. I'm so glad you're writing. Okay, next question for you. What is a literary figure or group or movement that you'd like to party with?
Yeah, this is so hard, but currently I'm reading the selected works of Audre Lorde, like by Roxane Gay. And so I think I want to like go back to the 80s and like hang out with like Toni Morrison and Audre Lorde and all of these amazing people, just like party with them and hear all of their thoughts.
That's a great one. Yes. All right. I like that a lot. I've been thinking that since I, asked this question, I'm wondering what different people, because like I know my daughter would probably say, I want to hang out with, Jonathan Larson in the 1990s. And, we just watched Tick, Tick, Boom. And she's like, yes, I want to be at that apartment. I want to be at that party. And then, going back to like New York in the 80s and that scene. Oh, it's, that's great. That's fantastic. Okay. What are you going to be? Stephanie Rodriguez was 80s, was her first choice as well. That's crazy. Okay, what would be your, what are you going to be reading to us tonight?
Yeah, so I'm reading this flash fiction piece. It's still pretty raw, to be honest, but I've just been like having a lot of fun with it. I couldn't get the first line out of my head. So yeah, it's been like the thing that I've just been playing around with and helping use to free myself as I'm returning back to the page. So
that's great. That's great.
And I also just want to say for everyone in the audience, there is a trigger warning in this piece, like most of my pieces, for sexual assault. So there is mention of that, but yeah.
Thank you, Sam. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our final reader of the evening, go ahead and make some noise, make some typing, make some screams of joy for Sam Babiak.
Thank you. Okay. At night, I wake up soaked in cold sweat, my tongue between my teeth as if I've just caught it trying to escape me. On the edge of waking, I'm only my sore mouth, gnawed flesh, bleeding tongue, aching teeth. My body does a lot of things without my permission, and this is one. I run my tongue over the ridges of my teeth, taste their borders, their bite, while I wait for the marks they left to fill themselves back in. But the process is slow, like fingers warming after frostbite. And night after night, before it all fades black into dreams, Philomela returns to me like a ghost from my past. Her myth goes like this. Philomela was the princess of Athens, daughter of King Pandion I, and she was 16 when her tongue was cut out. It was her rapist who did it in the hopes that she'd never be able to speak of what he'd done to her. He left her bleeding out in the dirt, left her to die in silence, but she didn't. Instead, Philomela wove a tapestry of the truth, and then she set it free. They say Zeus turned her into a nightingale, a bird known for its song, only female nightingales can't sing. For some of us, our bodies are our only archives, the only things that we can touch that remember the past, the only things keeping score of the cracks, of the silences we've severed and the secrets that we've kept and the ways that we've wept. I imagine my tongue as a shark's smooth cartilage swimming in a cage made of secrets. I imagine my tongue as the bark of a tree, rough to the touch with memory. I imagine my tongue like Philomela's, cut out and dying in the dirt. There's too much my body remembers that I can't. And I don't blame my tongue for wanting to be free, for wanting to find another fate. Thank you.
Wow, Sam. Gosh, that was powerful.
Thanks.
And so that is the piece in completion, yes? Is that the whole piece?
As of now, yeah.
Yeah.
Still a work in progress. We'll see.
Oh, well, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Sam, thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate that.
Thanks, Owen.
So we have now basically one last thing to do for the evening. We basically have to name the night. So we've got our different names of the possible names. Sam, what I'm going to choose from all the different phrases from yours, I'm going to choose Tapestry of the Truth. Okay, so now it's going to be up to the chat. I'll read the possible titles, and you can go ahead and vote of what feels like a good name to christen this December 4th, 2021 Writers League of Texas 40th anniversary One Page Salon event. What are we calling tonight? It could be a pie made of nuts. It could be naked and maskless. It could be not afraid. It could be fragile kingdom. It could be Tapestry of the Truth. What is it going to be? Go ahead and enter into the chat room or the chat box what you think tonight's title should be. Not afraid, Tapestry of the Truth. Not afraid is there too. Oh my gosh, so many. Oh, people are pie of nuts is in there. Oh, naked and maskless. Oh, people. Oh, it's you've only got a few more seconds to vote. People are. It's getting. Oh no, there's a runoff. Fragile Kingdom. Oh no, it's so close. I'm giving it to Not Afraid. I'm giving it to Not Afraid, the title of the December 4th, 2021 40th anniversary of the Writers League of Texas celebration. One Page Salon is called Not Afraid. And what a great summing up of all the things that we're doing here at the Writers League of Texas, of being not afraid to return to the page, not afraid to write down some goddamn truth, not afraid to tell some stories, not afraid to get stuff out there in a world that is constantly offering us rejection and shaking heads of relatives who don't understand why we spend so many times typing words and sending stories off into the ether. What a great reminder that the way we reach the stars is to not be afraid and jump up into the sky again and again and again. So hot damn, I like Not Afraid. I think that's going to be my mantra for 2022. Hi, Becca.
Hey, I was just going to invite all of our readers to come back on, if you don't mind. Is that all right? And all of our staff members, and I want to say that you're just amazing, Owen. Thank you for being a part of this and for being such a generous and warm and just wonderful host. You're the best.
Well, you're so welcome, Becca. Right back at you. And if you haven't, it's not too late. If you want to be a part of donating tonight, it's okay if you can't, for sure. But if you want to, once again, you can go to Venmo. You can put $1 in. You can put $100 in. You can put $40 in. You can put $40,000 in. So I can live up to that promise that I made that we were going to make all that $40,000 tonight.
We almost hit it.
Great. That's great. I'm really fingers crossed. But you go to WLT 40 on Venmo, make a donation, and you see tonight the great voices that are encouraged by your donations. And it's not only the voices that you heard tonight, but there's the voices of your own, yourself. Someone put it in a great way in the chat room of like, what a great way to reinforce your identity as a writer. To become a member of the Writers League of Texas and to support all the good things they're doing. Because man, we got to keep the voices alive. We gotta do it. And yes, a big shout out to R.L. Stein once again. R.L. Stein, the saint. That would, if R.L. Stein came on right now, he could give the $40,000. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be R.L.
You know what? I want to give one last shout out to, we have the best staff in the world. So I want to say thank you just publicly to all of them for everything they do and how hard they work, and just listening to them each talk about what we offer. Just know none of that stuff happens on its own. So thank you to Kelsey and to Sam and to Evan. And then what an amazing debut class of WLT fellows. More fellows will come and they will be awesome. But this class of fellows, we will never forget just what an amazing group you were and are. And I know you're going to stay in touch with each other. So please know that we demand that you also stay in touch with us, because we want to know you and we want to hear and be a part of and champion everything you do in the coming years. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for being here. Please, in the chat room, one last time, put a huge amount of applause, a huge amount of typing for all the folks in the Writers League of Texas and all the fine writers who shared their work with us tonight. Amanda Churchill, Stephanie Rodriguez, Jamira Richardson, Jean Synodinos, and Sam Babiak. Thank you guys once again. I'm Owen Egerton. This has been a really wonderful evening with all of you. Keep writing, keep reading, keep giving books to people. And hell yeah, let's make 2022 the year of the book.
Also, I didn't mention Sloan, who is also our staff member, who, because I can't see her face, I forgot to say thank you to Sloan, who is amazing and is listening in as well, and is on the chat box. So, yay. Bye, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.